हेलो, एक हैंडआउट मुझे भी दे दीजिए। हैंडआउट मुझे भी दे दीजिए। ऑल ऑफ यू हैज हैंडआउट। Am I audible to people in online?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Am I audible in online? Can anyone confirm this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
इसमें चेक कर लो, आवाज आ रही है? आ रही है आवाज? ओके, यहाँ पे स्पीकर नहीं है? हाँ, कनेक्ट करिए। स्पीकर नहीं। So polity, right? We are about to start our polity thing. Anyone who has previously completed? I can see some old faces. नहीं, आपका भी नहीं हुआ? आपका भी नहीं हुआ? Everyone is fresh for polity here. Anyone with humanities background having studied political science at their graduation? Political science? वाह, अच्छी बात है। Constitution? Have you read Constitution? Okay. Anyone else? Any previous knowledge? I'm not going to ask questions though. That's it. So have you seen the syllabus for our examination, polity? Which paper, which general studies paper polity is in? General studies paper 2, right? So we have in our UPSC, we have total of 4 general studies paper. Out of that, 250 marks, general studies paper 2, which consists of polity, governance, international relations, and social justice, right? Social justice. So if we see this 250 marks, if you exclude like around 70 to 75 marks from IR portion, your international relations, you will be getting around 175. इतना polity, governance, social justice से आता है पेपर में in our mains examination, 175 marks. Now your whole general studies in 4 GS paper, each of the general studies paper is for 250 marks. If you see, this forms around 20% of your syllabus. 1000 का नंबर होता है. There are 4 general studies paper, 1 is essay and 2 papers are your optional, what you choose, right? 20% in your mains, and also accordingly the similar thing in your preliminary examination. On an average, you have the data in front of you in your handout, that on an average you can see 15, 16 odd questions, 16, 17 odd questions every year. If you put an average, you will be getting. Some year it is beyond 20 also. So that makes around, if you have 100 questions in pre, so 22 questions from polity, 15 questions to 20 questions from polity you are getting every year. And then this is a trend. This is the trend where you will be getting the questions, how you will be getting the questions. So having said all this, what I wanted to inflict here is that this is an important subject. Directly, this is your direct relativity in the general studies. Apart from it, if you have PSIR optional. So PSIR optional is directly related to our general studies paper 2. Political science and international relations. GS2 में क्या है? Political science and international relation. Only few topics like schemes for vulnerable section of society. आपके पास सिलेबस होगा, घर जाके देखना. उसमें we have few topics like constitution, parliament, legislature, executive. इन सब के बाद we have e-governance. So governance का portion है. Then you have the topics for social justice like vulnerable schemes for welfare schemes for vulnerable section of society. तो एक टर्म हमें यहाँ पे मिलता है welfare schemes. और दूसरा, we have this vulnerable section of society. So government is formulating schemes for some certain section of society. We make society, humans make society. Society क्या है? Class क्या है? Class is a group. You come here, this is a group. If there is more than one person at a time interacting with each other, maybe in any form, maybe for any purpose, they form group, right? These groups are called social groups. For example, you go to shop, you pay him certain rupees, you purchase things from him, you are also forming a group with him. You go to shopping mall, you are interacting with few persons, then you are also forming a group there. You are coming to class, you are interacting with your fellow aspirant, you are talking with the teacher, management. That is also a kind of group. At your home also, you are talking with your father, mother, siblings. That is also a kind of group, right? So there are various groups. ये क्या है? अलग अलग तरीके के ग्रुप्स की मैंने आपको एग्जांपल दी. For that matter, if you are interacting in your family, that is a kind of informal interaction, है ना? That is an informal interaction. हम इमोशनल बातें करते हैं, but that interaction is permanent interaction. That is not for any purpose. If you come here with a purpose. As soon as this purpose will get over, you will stop coming here. Interaction in this group will finish. So these are secondary group. Secondary group किसको बोलते हैं? Which is a short term group, which is more formal in nature. As opposed to it, primary groups are what? परमानेंट इन नेचर एंड दे आर इनफॉर्मल इन नेचर. तो ऐसे बहुत सारे ग्रुप्स को मिला के वी फॉर्म व्हाट? सोशल स्ट्रक्चर. एंड देन बहुत सारे स्ट्रक्चर मिला के हमारी सोसाइटी बनती है, राइट? सो हमने क्या किया इस सोसाइटी में? वी कैन डिफरेंशिएट वेरियस पीपल ऑन द वेरियस ग्राउंड्स. इफ यू गो ऑन एंड इफ यू डिफरेंशिएट on the basis of caste, you will find different groups of people. Someone is Brahmin, someone is Shudra, someone is Kshatriya, someone is Vaishyas, right? These are the fourfold historical classification of Indian society in terms of caste. Varna, they call it Varna system. Caste is a bit different from Varna, but that is a topic of history. So these are the fourfold classification. Do you think that if there are four persons, one is Brahmin, one is Kshatriya, another is Vaishya, another is Shudra, so everyone is equal? No. Neither they are equal in terms of economics, neither they are equal in terms of social status. You go to villages in rural India, you will find this thing that these category people who are so-called Shudra, they will dare not to sit at par with the Brahmins. अगर ब्राह्मण चेयर पे बैठा है तो शूद्र को नीचे बिठा देते हैं. This is the differentiation, discrimination on the basis of caste and a social status. Also, you'll find that the most affluent castes in India, like Kshatriyas, they were the ruler in the ancient India. Kshatriyas, after the Mughal came, so in Mughal, it was a whole Islamic thing. But before that, rule करना किसका काम माना जाता था? Kshatriyas का. So Brahmins were supposed to do teaching and पूजा पाठ करना इनका काम होता था. They were the rulers in the India, rulers. They were the traders, and these were the servants. ये service class थे. So whom do you think will be having more and more economic prosperity? Kshatriyas. They were having the more power. जिसके पास पूरा राज्य होगा, उससे अमीर कौन होगा? कोई नहीं, right? So technically these people were doing what? Trade. So ये business class थे. They used to pay taxes to them. थोड़ा बहुत इन तीनों के पास वेल्थ तो है, बट ड्यू टू एजेस ऑफ डिस्क्रिमिनेशन यू विल फाइंड दैट दीज कैटेगरी पीपल आर नीदर गुड एट द सोशल स्टेटस नॉर गुड एट द इकोनॉमिक स्टेटस. सो अगर एक और एग्जांपल लेके समझो. नाउ दीज आर द फोर काइंड्स ऑफ पीपल लिविंग इन अ विलेज. दैट विलेज इज नियर बाई रिवर. सपोज जमुना किनारे गांव है, वहां पे 4 जाति के लोग मिलके गांव में रह रहे हैं. If flood comes, who will be affected most? Shudras. क्यों? ऊपर 3 के घर पक्के होंगे, इनके घर पक्के नहीं होंगे. They will be mostly living on a temporary wages. इनका कोई fixed source of income नहीं होगा. And during that time, why you are going to flood? You just compare with Corona. Who are the people most affected? जो हमारे रोड पे ठेले वगैरह लगाते हैं. हमने बाहर निकलना बंद किया, and their employment stopped then and there itself, right? So this is what? Vulnerability. The people who are more prone to disasters, people who are more prone to social exclusion, people who are more prone to exploitation in the society, they have been called as vulnerables. So there is a long list of vulnerables in India. You can classify these vulnerables on various grounds. One is on the basis of caste. You may say that scheduled caste and scheduled tribes are the people who are vulnerable in India. If you also compare age-wise, so who are the most vulnerable? Are people in the 20s, 30s, or people in 10 years of age or 60 years of age? So either the children's or the senior citizens, they are most vulnerable. You must have come across various news in the newspaper कि एक बूढ़े दंपति रहते थे, कोई आया चोरी करके चला गया, उनको पीट के चला गया. Right. So these kinds of news are quite often, because if a senior citizen in the age of 70, 80 are living alone, they are prone to various kinds of crime related to property, crime related to life, danger to life, right? So they are also vulnerable section in society. If you compare on the basis of gender, who are more vulnerable, males or females? Females, right? So it is sad, but it is true that in India, technically females, all the females are somewhat vulnerable in various aspects. So what is the duty of the government is to frame the laws, to frame the policies, to frame the schemes for that. So this is the part of our social justice. Without understanding the law, without understanding the polity, and without understanding that why it is the responsibility of the government to make these kinds of law, you will not be able to understand social justice. Right. So these three things, polity, constitution, of course, governance and social justice will go hand in hand. These are interrelated. Right. International relations is how various, see, in the polity, state is a subject. India is a one kind of state. Pakistan is another kind of state. Right. अभी ये confusion होगा कि हम तो जानते थे हरियाणा state है, ये पाकिस्तान क्यों बोल रहा है? I'll explain why. Right. Right. So these are the subject matter of polity. When these various subjects matter will interact with each other, that will be the part of international relations. Right. इंडिया और पाकिस्तान एक दूसरे के साथ कैसे रहते हैं? इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस. इंडिया में लोग कैसे रहते हैं? सोशल जस्टिस, पॉलिटी, राइट? तो ये पूरा जो है हमारा सब्जेक्ट मैटर है, दैट इज फॉर आवर जनरल स्टडीज पेपर 2. नाउ हाउ द क्वेश्चंस कम एंड हाउ शुड वी प्रिपेयर, व्हाट शैल बी आवर सोर्सेस? दीज आर द थ्री ऑब्वियस क्वेश्चन. इसके अलावा और कोई शक और कोई सवाल नहीं है तो बताओ, उसको भी बात करेंगे. At the very beginning, we should be knowing that which kinds of question you may find in examination, the kinds of questions. And also from which kind of topic, which kinds of question. Question may be either factual, either they may be based on the current affairs, or they may be a bit analytical in nature. और इसके अलावा किसी तरह के क्वेश्चंस बन सकते हैं? नहीं बन सकते, है ना? या तो they will be testing your factual knowledge. If I say how many kinds of fundamental rights are there, if I frame a simple MCQ, how many kinds of fundamental rights are available to you? I give option 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm checking what? Your factual knowledge, that are you aware about these facts of the constitution or not? If I say, what is the meaning of equality? If I give 4 or 5 similar options, then I'm checking that whether you have understanding of those topics or not. I am checking your analytical skills. And if UPSC picks any question from the current news going on, that becomes what? A bit current affairs oriented, right? But the benefit in polity is even whatever, see, the questions will be coming from the current affairs only. But even current affairs is static in polity. What is in the current affairs with regards to polity? Suppose, let's take a recent example. Rahul Gandhi was sentenced to jail for 2 years. You must have seen in the news that Rahul Gandhi को 2 साल की सजा हो गई. क्यों? क्योंकि उन्होंने मोदी जी को चोर बोल दिया. That he told why all the thieves having surname Modi. मतलब सारे चोरों की surname मोदी क्यों होती है? So this was considered to be a defamatory, manhani. Defamation means manhani. If someone is reducing the public image of other person in the public, that is called defamation, and that is a punishable offense under IPC section 499. So Rahul Gandhi को 2 साल की सजा मिल गई. Now the constitution says that if anybody, or the Representation of People Act says that anybody who has got a sentence of more than 2 years, he or she shall be disqualified from being an MP or MLA for a period of 6 years. Right? For example, Rahul Gandhi got this sentence in 2023. 2 साल की सजा मिली, यानी 2025 तक he will be in the jail if the appeal is rejected again. He is presently under appeal, right? So the provision says that after the person has finished his sentence, 6 more years, he should not be allowed to participate in any kinds of election, right? So this is what a news in the current affairs. हमें क्या पढ़ना है? ये हमारे सिलेबस का टॉपिक है, डायरेक्ट टॉपिक है, because this provision of 6 years is written under one particular act, Representation of People's Act, and this is explicitly mentioned in your GS2 syllabus, right? But है तो एक current affairs. But if you have read all these things sequentially in your class or in your static thing, है तो provision के बारे में बात. It is indeed a static portion which has occurred in the news, is not it? So in polity, everything is static. Very rarely you will find constitution changing. Our country has seen 75 years of independence, 76 it is going to be, and 3 less years when the constitution was made. Constitution was made in 1950. Since then only 100 amendment, 105 amendment has been moved. Only. सिर्फ 105 दफा ही constitution बदला है. So it is not too prone to change. बहुत ज्यादा लगातार चीजें change नहीं होती polity में. So this is the biggest benefit where we can score well in polity. Because know it. And if you go to the market और चाय वाय के दुकान पे जाओ, सारे स्टूडेंट्स का फेवरेट पॉलिटी ही होता है. So your competitors are doing good in this, then you should also do. It is very necessary because this is not examination की 60% आया सबको फर्स्ट डिवीजन की डिग्री मिलेगी. You will have to be equal with your competitor at all the aspect. Plus to create the margin, you should do something better. कुछ बेटर होना चाहिए, तब आप लिस्ट में चले जाओगे. बहुत बेटर नहीं करना है, ये साइन इसरो वाले नहीं, ठीक है, राइट? सो फर्स्ट थिंग इज दैट देयर विल बी 3 काइंड्स ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. One will be factual question. They will be asking simply about various provisions of the constitution. Like if I say that what is the duration within which emergency needs to be passed by parliament, है ना? This is a factual thing which is given under article 352 of the constitution. This is pure fact. अब क्यों है, कैसे है, इसके लिए डिबेट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल असेंबली में हुई होगी, बट हमारे सामने ये फैक्ट है. दिस इज अ फैक्ट व्हिच इज इन फ्रंट ऑफ अस. वी हैव नो अदर वे जस्ट टू रिमेंबर इट. दिस इज वन काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन, एंड दिस यू विल मोस्टली फाइंड फ्रॉम द टॉपिक्स लाइक पार्लियामेंट. You will find topics from executive, right? You will find topics from judiciary. In judiciary, somewhat is philosophical in nature also. But these 2 kinds of topic, then again emergency provisions. In these kinds of topics, you will find a bit of factual kind of a question. ठीक है, विद एग्जांपल्स मैंने आपके हैंडआउट में देख रखा है कि किस तरह के टॉपिक से किस तरह से आते हैं और कैसे फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन आए हुए हैं. Right? You will also again see that there are some questions which are asking, testing your philosophical understanding. Liberty, equality, freedom, anti-discrimination, these are all what? The philosophies of the constitution. This whole thing is given under preamble. हम बोलते हैं ना, इस देश में जब से डेमोक्रेसी आया है सब बराबर हो गए हैं, everyone is equal. So this equality is what? A philosophy. एक सोच है, एक विचारधारा है. तो इस पे फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन तो या तो बन नहीं सकते, अगर बनते भी हैं वेरी रेयरली विल फाइंड इन एग्जामिनेशन. अपॉन दिस यू विल फाइंड क्वेश्चंस लाइक व्हिच विल बी टेस्टिंग योर ओवरऑल अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द. वहां पे देखो उसमें लिखा होगा व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय लिबर्टी या फिर इक्वलिटी, इस तरह का होगा एक, है ना? लिबर्टी का है ना. सो ये कहीं लिखा नहीं, डिफाइन नहीं इन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. लिबर्टी इज नोवेयर डिफाइंड. इट इज जस्ट बेस्ड ऑन, हाँ एनसीईआरटी में जरूर लिखा है what do you mean by liberty, right? So दूसरा तरीके क्वेश्चन ये हो गया which will be testing your overall knowledge, that is philosophical thing. Third one is I have mentioned it as a miscellaneous thing. वो अब यूपीएससी being यूपीएससी 1-2 क्वेश्चन तो कहीं से उठा के लाएगी. कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम है भाई, सारे आंसर सब कर लोगे तो फिर बेचारे की ईगो हर्ट हो जाएगी. ठीक है, तो there will be third kind of questions which you may cover by doing your current affairs. Right? Again, you can apply the same thing to your mains examination also. There are some questions which are asking what? Your factual knowledge. That if I say there was a question in 2017 or 2018 that Government of India Act 1935 tried to establish the federal government in India for the first time, discuss. तो ये क्या है? आपको गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट के बारे में बताना है. और इफ आई आस्क सिंपल क्वेश्चन, व्हाट आर द सैलिएंट फीचर्स ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, दिस इज सिंपल, रटना है और लिखना है. बट समटाइम्स दे विल आस्क अ क्वेश्चन व्हिच इज एनालिटिकल आल्सो, दैट रोल ऑफ गवर्नर इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, बट ऑफ लेटली दे आर नॉट बिहेविंग इन इम्पार्शियल मैनर. कमेंट, एनालाइज. सो इस तरह के क्वेश्चन मेंस में भी आएंगे. What is difference? See, polity same पढ़नी है for pre and for mains. Both the places syllabus is same. Pre का कोई syllabus नहीं है. They have simply mentioned the name of the subject in pre. They have given a detailed explanation of syllabus for the mains only. So syllabus for pre and mains both are same in polity. How can we study it differently? Or shall we study it differently? We do not need to study it differently. What do we need to do is we need to practice it differently. हमको अपने प्रैक्टिस में थोड़ा सा अंतर करना पड़ता है प्री के लिए और मेंस के लिए. प्री के लिए आप अलग किताब नहीं पढ़ते हो, सेम किताब पढ़ते हो. मेंस के लिए अलग किताब नहीं पढ़ते हो, सेम किताब पढ़ते हो. राइट. मेंस विल बी ब्रॉडली बेस्ड ऑन वेरियस इश्यूज. देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन न्यूज एंड इशू. राइट. राहुल जी का एग्जांपल लेते हैं दैट आज उनको सजा हो गई, दिस इज अ न्यूज. Tomorrow Rahul Gandhi is going to file an appeal. This is a news. Senior court rejected the appeal of Rahul Gandhi. This is a news. But what is the issue? Disqualification of members, defamation. This is an issue. So you will need to differentiate while reading that what is a minor news and what is a bigger issue. Right? एक issue के अंदर बहुत सारे news हो सकते हैं. Farmer protest. Right? तो rights of the farmer, minimum support price. These are what the issues. अब एक दिन हड़ताल हुआ, अगले दिन उठ गया, तीसरे दिन पिज्जा खा रहे हैं, ये सब न्यूज है ना. तो ये फर्क आपको अपने पढ़ाई के समय मेंटेन करना होता है. दैट यू नीड टू फिल्टर आउट द इंपॉर्टेंट इश्यूज, कीप अपार्ट द पेटी न्यूज. राइट. दिस इज द ओनली डिफरेंस व्हाट यू गो फॉर प्री एंड मेंस. प्री के लिए थोड़ा वो फैक्चुअल चीजें भी इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाती है, लाइक माइनर न्यूज. ठीक है. नो हाउ वी आर गोइंग टू कवर. So firstly, there may be a confusion कि NCERT पढ़े या नहीं, लक्ष्मीकांत पढ़े या नहीं पढ़े, और कोई 30 मार्क वाली किताब ले आए. ठीक है. So in this class जहां तक हम चलेंगे और जो handouts हैं, you will be getting the NCERT included into this, right? But if you are not going to appear in 2023 examination, I will suggest firstly read NCERT at your own, because मेरे लिख देने से और आपके खुद पढ़ने से फर्क है. Right? If I am simply writing the same thing in a summary format. But if you are not in hurry, then why you are avoiding yourself from reading most authentic source? जब भी see in polity और in constitution चीजें आर्टिकल 1 से शुरू होती है और 395 आर्टिकल पे जाके खत्म हो जाती है. This is the length and breadth of the topic. Article 1 to Article 395 of the Constitution. But आपको पता है सुप्रीम कोर्ट में हर साल कितने केसेस आते हैं which requires the interpretation of constitution. So reading constitution and understanding constitution both are different thing. You can simply go through the constitution, still you can say that I have not understood anything, which is quite obvious. ठीक है. तो अब डायरेक्टली आप कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पढ़ने चले जाओगे, आपको पता ही नहीं है कि व्हाट इज द फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर, आपको पता ही नहीं है कि व्हाट इज सोशल जस्टिस, इकोनॉमिक जस्टिस, पॉलिटिकल जस्टिस, आर द सेम और डिफरेंट. सो प्रॉब्लम वहां शुरू होती है दैट वी आर डायरेक्टली जंपिंग टू सम और अदर सोर्स. सोर्स सारे अच्छे हैं, नॉट अ सिंगल सोर्स विल कवर योर 100% सिलेबस. 100% कोई कवर नहीं करेगा, बिकॉज दोज आर द टेक्स्ट बुक्स रिटन टू गेट सोल्ड इन द मार्केट. कितनी भी अच्छी बुक लिखा आ जाओ, MP जैन, दैट इज अ बुक फॉर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, अराउंड 2000 पेजेस की किताब है वो. उसमें भी आप नहीं कह सकते कि उसको पढ़ लिया तो मैं UPSC में सारे सवाल सॉल्व कर लूंगा पॉलिटी के. हो ही नहीं सकता. He will be missing something. Lakshmikant, he will be missing something. You can depend upon only one source. That is your limitation. Right? You need to have this trust on yourself that if I revise it multiple times, I will be able to solve 70-80% question. That is only required. 100 में से 100 तो करने ही नहीं है प्री में, मेंस में करने हैं. Because in mains, if you lose on one question, you are losing on 12 marks. If you lose one question in 4 papers, you have lost 50 marks. और रैंक 1 से जो मार्क्स का डिफरेंस होता है, लास्ट तक आते हैं तो 50 में निपट जाते हैं सब लोग. That is only the difference. So you are moving yourself out of the competition, right? So in mains, your idea should be to attempt all the questions, but in pre, it is not required at all. Whatever you are attempting, because in pre there are very weird kind of questions also, जिसके आंसर पूरी दुनिया भी, पेपर होगा 28 मई को देखना, 5-6 आंसर कीज आएंगे, सबके उसमें 110 आ रहे होंगे. जब रिजल्ट आएगा कुछ लोगों का सिलेक्शन नहीं होगा, और जब आंसर की आएगा तो पता चलेगा आंसर की ही दूसरा है. यूपीएससी थिंक्स इन सर्टेन अदर वे, इंस्टीट्यूट्स आर थिंकिंग सर्टेन अदर वे, स्टूडेंट्स आर थिंकिंग सर्टेन अदर वे. वो एक मार्जिन है इन आवर प्रिपरेशन, दैट वी विल हैव टू एक्सेप्ट इट एंड वी विल हैव टू लिव ऑन द मार्जिन. कहते हैं ना, इफ यू आर नॉट लिविंग ऑन एजेस, यू आर टेकिंग टू मच स्पेस. दुनिया वैसी हो गई है, राइट? सो नेवर गो फॉर सॉल्विंग एवरी क्वेश्चन इन प्री एग्जामिनेशन. मेंस में पूरी करनी है. कहां से करनी है सोर्सेस? तो माय फर्स्ट प्रेफर्ड सोर्स फॉर यू पीपल शैल बी एनसीईआरटी. व्हिच आर दोज एनसीईआरटी? 6, 7, 8, 9 की एनसीईआरटी आप छोड़ दो. That is like very basics. Until and unless if you have problem in understanding like simple terms like democracy etc., 6th, 7th, 8th ki NCERT you should avoid, right? Then which NCERT we should pick up? Firstly, you have Indian Constitution at work. Then you have politics in India since independence. And then you have political theory. This is a very good book to give you the philosophical background of our constitution. But if you are not able to understand theoretical aspect, leave it for now. After your classes are done, then in your free time, you can go for it. Meanwhile, while we are coming regularly in classes, you can try to read these 2 books. This is about, this is, you can say, the mini version of Lakshmikant. Lakshmikant में डिटेल में दिया हुआ है, वही सारी चीजें in very concise manner it is given in this book. This politics in India since independence, as its name suggests, it is talking about India from the day India got independence. What were challenges in front of India, and till 2000, how India has progressed. So they will be talking about various aspects. This book is not only important in preliminary examination and also in polity, but also there is a paper in GS paper 1, और उसमें एक टॉपिक है पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंट हिस्ट्री, है ना, जीएस पेपर 1 में. सो उसके लिए भी ये बुक आपको हेल्प कर सकती है, राइट? एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, अगर आप आज से सेल्फ स्टडी शुरू कर रहे हो पॉलिटी की, सो आई विश कि आप ये बुक पढ़ के आओ. This is the first requirement. Apart from that, this will be a bit confusing for you people. So let's wait till we are done with our classes. You will have sufficient understanding, then you can approach this book, right? So this is the primary major source. Now coming about the Lakshmikant, वो पढ़ना है कि नहीं पढ़ना है? अब इस स्टेज पे मुझसे पूछोगे तो मैं बोलूंगा नहीं पढ़ना है, लेकिन आई नो दैट इज द बेस्ट अवेलेबल सोर्स फॉर यू पीपल, राइट? उससे वो दैट इज नॉट अ सफिशिएंट बुक, बट दैट इज द बेस्ट अवेलेबल बुक, दैट आई नो. ठीक, अभी मैंने अपने लिए क्यों बोला कि मुझे नहीं पढ़ना है? क्योंकि आई हैव स्टडीड दिस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन 5 साल तक लॉ स्कूल में, तो अब मुझे उसकी जरूरत नहीं पड़ती. बट इन द मोस्ट सिंपलेस्ट फॉर्म आपके सिलेबस को दैट बुक डिफाइंस, right? So once you are done with it, Indian Constitution at work, you can at your self study, you can start with that book, Lakshmikant. Online, offline, it is your choice. ई बुक में पढ़ना है, हार्ड कॉपी में पढ़ना है, it is your choice. आप उसको पढ़ सकते हो, but that is an essential, that is a standard source. आप उसको पढ़िए. In class, we will be covering in detail that book. उस बुक को हम कवर करेंगे. Apart from that, I will be covering the analysis part, because in that book, analysis part is missing. That is simply a factual गाथा of our constitution. उसको सिंपल इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज में लिख के रखा हुआ है वो. So factual चीजें तो आपको आ जाएंगी, but this part you will be missing the philosophical part. So that is my responsibility. I will get it covered in the class, right? ऐसा नहीं कि factual चीजें हम कवर नहीं करेंगे, ठीक है? factual चीजें भी कवर करेंगे. क्लास में एक अगला सवाल ये आता है, क्लास में नोट्स बनाना है, हैंड आउट बनाना है, हैंड आउट दे रहे हो, नोट्स बनाना है या नहीं बनाना है? हैंड आउट इज माय पर्सनल चॉइस. I prefer that the students should save time. आप लोग का टाइम बचे, ऐसा नहीं कि राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस बंद कराने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं मैं. यू कैन डू योर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस एट योर होम, राइटिंग एसेज, मेकिंग योर स्पीड गुड, ऑल दीज थिंग्स यू कैन डू. But this minute things which are there, like very factual things, you will be getting regularly through your handouts, right? So at the end of this class, you will have another summary of your Lakshmikant at your hand, right? But in the class, I will be dictating few things, mostly in the question answer format, that you will come to know if there is one question which is coming in mains examination, what are the peripheral areas we can cover it. ठीक है. अगर आप चाहते हो रनिंग नोट्स लेना, दैट इज योर चॉइस, दैट इज द गुड थिंग टू डू, क्योंकि वो मेरी पर्सनल आदत थी. जब मैं भी पढ़ता था तो नोट्स हो या ना हो मेरे को लिखना ही होता था, और जब तक मैं नहीं लिखूं मुझे समझ नहीं आता था. तो ये इंडिविजुअल चॉइस हो सकता है, राइट. बट द हैंडआउट्स व्हाट यू विल बी गेटिंग, दैट विल कवर कंप्लीट पॉलिटी, नॉट टू वरी अबाउट दैट. ठीक है. अब इसमें एडिशन या सब्सट्रैक्शन करना हो तो कब करेंगे? You will find this, that on the right side there is a bigger margin that I have kept in the future if you are coming across any current affairs news. So you can write it in your handout also. There is a sufficient amount of space so that you do not have another notes prepared for your current affairs. अलग बस्ता रखा हुआ है, स्टैटिक अलग बस्ता रखा हुआ है, ऐसा ना हो, एक ही बस्ता हो आपके पास. ठीक है. This is few things I wanted to talk before we started to discuss the topics of our syllabus. Any questions in general with regard to polity or its approach, you can ask. कुछ और डाउट कंफ्यूजन कैसे करना है इसमें? Otherwise we will start with the topic.
Sir, how many classes will it take to complete the polity?
I some time ago told that states are the subject matter of international relations, and then I told that India is a state. Do you all agree that India is a state? Then those who agree, why do they agree that India is a state? Why not your home state? Some people may be belonging from Delhi. Some people may have come to Delhi from outside. So they may say that, no, I am from state of Bihar, I am from state of UP, I am from Haryana. So far you have been saying this. So why now you are saying that India is a state?
There are different countries.
So you are telling that there are different countries, so better to call them countries, why state? There are 4 essential criteria. This is actually a previous year question of UPSC. There are 4 essential criteria that a state must have. 4 essential criteria, right? One is territory. Territory means a fixed geographical area. A fixed geographical area. So now you say that Haryana has a fixed geographical area. It starts from boundary Punjab, it says boundary with Delhi also, it says boundary with other Rajasthan also. ठीक है. तो इसके पास एक फिक्स टेरिटरी तो है. पंजाब के पास भी एक फिक्स टेरिटरी है. बिहार के पास भी एक फिक्स टेरिटरी है. राइट. टेरिटरी मीन्स ज्योग्राफिकल एरिया, लैंड, अ पीस ऑफ लैंड. राइट. बट उस पीस ऑफ लैंड पे कोई लोग नहीं होगा तो स्टेट हो, कंट्री हो या नेशन हो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Then the second criteria, what is required here is the population. Population, right? There must be a fixed territory, there must be a fixed area, and there may be people inhabiting that area. उस एरिया में कुछ लोग रह रहे होंगे. ठीक है. This is the second. Now what happens that if you see a crowd, भीड़ देखा है कभी ऐसे मंदिरों में निकलता है मेला वाला के बाद? Do you find them organized? They are seldom organized. There is the biggest demerit of the mob is that they are unorganized. And if you leave the people in group without any control, they will be unorganized. So to control the people, control this population, what you need is government. You will need what? A government. Simply we are taking government. I'm not going into what kind of government, but simply because Hitler also ran a government, India is also having a government. Both are the poles apart kind of government. He was a dictator. We are running a democracy. Right. So third one is government. What if there is a government also, but there is no technical power with the government? There is a government, but that cannot take any decision on its own. Suppose that there is a country which is having territory. Of course, country hai to territory hogi, kuch log reh rahe honge, and of course we assume that there is a government also. But whenever there is a time to take the decision making, that country is asking United States of America कि मुझे ऐसा करना चाहिए, मुझे ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए. So do you find that government a true government? nahi. They are lacking one feature, sovereignty. They are lacking what? Sovereignty. Now what this sovereignty means? Sovereignty means the ability of any government or any person to take decisions, internal as well as external, without any influence. Right? कहते हैं ना, मैं अपना खुद का राजा हूं. क्यों? क्योंकि मुझे क्या खाना है, क्या पहनना है, क्या पीना है, मुझे किसी से पूछने की जरूरत नहीं है. I am free to take my own choices. Now in the similar manner, put this on India. Now India want to have a war with Pakistan or peace with Pakistan. Does India needs to seek the permission of Joe Biden? No, India is free. So if these four criteria are existing at any place, that means the particular entity is a state. Now apply this on your home states. Take Haryana, for example. Haryana is having territory. Haryana is having a population also. Haryana is also having a government. Khattar ji chala rahe na sarkar. So there is also government. But do you think that Haryana is actually sovereign? Can Haryana take independent decisions? No. Can there be a different foreign policy of Haryana and different foreign policy for India? No. The foreign policy of Haryana must align themselves according to India. For that matter, Haryana has no foreign policy. They are lacking what? Sovereignty. Haryana कह सकते हैं कि नहीं, कल से मैं इंडिया का पार्ट नहीं रहूंगा. नहीं कह सकता. They have to abide by the rules of India. They have to abide by the Constitution of India. India is a one territory. This is defined in Article 1, that India is the union of states, and states do not have the power to go away from the union. So they can run the government, but with a limited amount of power, which is restriction set by the Constitution. But India एक बड़ी यूनिट है. इंडिया फॉरेन पॉलिसी में बिल्कुल इंडिपेंडेंट है. इंडिया कैन कैप्चर एनी अदर्स प्रॉपर्टी एंड इंडिया एज अ होल कैन डोनेट इंडियाज प्रॉपर्टी टू समवन एल्स आल्सो, बिकॉज इंडिया एज अ होल इज अ सॉवरेन थिंग. सो दिस इज व्हाई वी कॉल इंडिया एज अ स्टेट. नाउ इंडिया इज अ स्टेट और इंडिया इज अ नेशन. इंडिया स्टेट है या इंडिया एक नेशन है, या दोनों है? बोथ. ये थोड़ा आसान ऑप्शन होता है, बोथ वाला. बट क्यों? इंडिया इज अ स्टेट दैट वी अंडरस्टूड, बट व्हाई इंडिया इज अ नेशन? किसकी फीलिंग? वी फीलिंग. सो अ सेंस ऑफ कनेक्टनेस विथ ईच अदर. कैन देयर बी एनी नेशन बट दैट इज नॉट अ स्टेट? हाउ डू यू डिफाइन अ नेशन? खालिस्तान. स्टेट को तो हमने डिफाइन कर लिया. Anything which is having these four essential elements are called state. But how do you define a nation? Nation is a cultural unit. Nation is based on your language, ethnicity. Nation is based on your how you speak, how you wear your clothes, how you interact with each other. Right? For that matter, आप देखो, you go to different parts of India. You go south, you will find people from Tamil speaking background. You go further up, you will find people speaking Telugu. You come to west, you will find people speaking Marathi. Right? तो अगर if you go to the literal meaning, अगर आप बहुत narrow sense में बात करते हो, so Maharashtra is a nation. Marathi speaking people are a nation. Tamilian is a nationality. Right? But our nationality, then why do we call India as a nation? Because India is a group of multiple nations. We are a one nation having different nations. These are all the diversity of India. Various language, various culture, various caste, various religion. These are all the diversity which is present under a theme of one nation. So the theme of our nation is unity in diversity. हम क्या है, अनेकताओं में एकता वाले देश हैं, विविधताओं में एकता वाला देश है इंडिया। अब ऐसे तो ये सोच में आ रहा होगा कि चलो तमिल तो एक नेशन है क्योंकि वो लैंग्वेज बोलते हैं। इज देयर एनी प्रूफ दैट इंडिया इज ए नेशन? इज देयर एनी एंशिएंट प्रूफ? We do not have it, but we have it. Constitution is very modern thing. वो तो 1950 में आया. I'm talking about history. I'm talking about any text, any Upanishads. Upanishads are debatable, but still, is there any mention of India as a whole unit? Mauryan Empire. Mauryan Empire made Ashoka ruled from this whole northeastern state. He ran till Afghanistan, also in the southward also. Then you have this Samudragupta. He also had this pan-India empire. During the time of Aurangzeb also, his empire were expanding throughout the India. That is one factor. Also, you will find in various literary texts, if you talk about ancient literary text. So in Jammu Kashmir, you will go and you will find same kinds of gods being worshipped. You will find people having same kind of culture, almost similar culture, not the same, but similar culture. Patriarchy you will find in North India. Patriarchy almost you will find again in the South India. There are certain sections in the South India which is matriarchy, but they are very minority. So कुछ ऐसे essential features है हमारे society के जो north, south, east, west जाओगे एक ही तरह का होता है. Then again you must have read in your ancient history that when the Vedic age started, there was a battle of 10 kings. है ना, 10 राजन्य बोलते हैं उसको, 10 kings. So there was a battle on the banks of river Ravi. So Ravi's ancient name is Parushni. So us battle में, because when Aryans came to India, they came in form of tribe. There were different tribes and they had a battle. So one tribe was fighting again in one side, and there were 10 tribes who were fighting against that tribe. And that tribe was called Bharat. So we can derive our name Bharat from then. One tribe emerged victorious over other 10 tribes. So that is why it came ki India ka naam Bharat hai. It's not only one story. There are different names, different stories which signifies that there is a particular land which is in north of oceans. There is a particular land which is in south of Himalayas. Their children are called Bharati and that land is called Bharat. So this is a verse which is mentioned in the Rig Veda. Raj Sabha television देखते हो आप? और देखना चाहिए आप लोगों को. सीरियल छोड़ के, नेटफ्लिक्स छोड़ के, है ना? तो there is a series which is coming, Itihas. So that line start with this, that there is a land which starts north of ocean, south of Himalayas, and their children are called Bharati, and that land is called Bharat. मतलब a geographical extent is denoted by the name Bharat. And the same name is mentioned in our constitution also, that India, that is Bharat. So India is a kind of a very a foreign name, mispronounced name. So this river Sindhu. So people who came from foreign, especially European, so they told that the people, this country which is lying across Sindhu, so that is Hindustan, and the people inhabiting that area is called Hindus. Right. So that India is derived from a foreign thing. ठीक है, वो हमारा ओरिजिनल नहीं, बट हाँ है, अभी हमने उसको अडॉप्ट कर लिया है हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में. आर्टिकल 1 says इंडिया दैट इज भारत. ठीक है. सो इंडिया इज ऑल्सो अ नेशन in terms of culture. It is a group of multiple nations with a theme of unity and diversity, right? So when you go on and read, I have told you about the NCERT politics in India since independence. The very first chapter of that book called Challenges of Nation Building in India. What was the challenge of nation building in India? Because when Britishers left India, how many countries got independent? 1947 में कितनी कंट्री को आजादी मिली थी? एक, दो, 567 countries got independence altogether, because these were the princely states. जो छोटे छोटे राजे रजवाड़े थे, तो 567 लोगों को ब्रिटिशर्स ने क्या बोला, that you are free, you can either join India, you can either join Pakistan, and you can remain independent. Now imagine for a moment that there were 567 India. It was a big challenge how to unite them. अगर उनकी कल्चरल आइडेंटिटी ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर नहीं होती तो क्या आप किसी के साथ में मिल जाओगे? नहीं मिल जाओगे. Of course, there were challenges in nation building of India. We are still not a complete nation. You can say that we are in the process of building a nation. क्योंकि कई बार बात होती है पार्लियामेंट में, we are imposing Hindi on various people. Because of course they have their own native language. We cannot expect people from Tamil Nadu to talk in Hindi as much as we do in North India. And in North India, we cannot expect कि हम तमिल में बात करेंगे, हिंदी में नहीं करेंगे, है ना? तो there are certain elements which are making us diverse. But in no doubt, India is one nation, right? Because we share some cultural identity which is common across north, south, east, west, right? So India is one state and India is a kind of nation also. We have seen that India is having a group of multiple nations. Can you give me any other examples also? That there is one state and multiple nation? United States of America. So they are having a group of 50 states, and that 50 states has made a common country that is called United States. And there are also various cultural variations in United States of America. You travel from east to west, you will find different kinds of Americas. You come a bit south, you will find Central America. They are also the part जहाँ पे कोलंबस गया था, इंडिया चिल्लाया था, बाद में पता चला था कि ये तो वेस्ट इंडीज है ना? तो that is also a kind of America. You go to South India, South America, Brazil, वगैरह, that is entirely different. In our neighboring countries also, there is one very small island country, Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka are composed of two ethnic groups. One is Tamilians, another is Sinhala. So they are based upon the language. Tamilian speaking people who may be migrated from our own Tamil Nadu, but they are the native of Sri Lanka from ages, बहुत पहले से हो गए हैं, right? But they have entirely different culture, they have entirely different language, but there is only one state that is called Sri Lanka. You may also find an example that there is one nation, but it has been divided into two states, two countries बना दिया गया उसको. You know Korea, Ireland, South Korea and North Korea. We can only say they are Korean people. We can say कि एक जापानी people होते हैं, तो जापान एक nation है, एक state भी है. But in Korea, you can only say these are Korean people. They speak Korean language. But if you talk politically, there are two states, North Korea and South Korea. So ऐसी variations exist करती हैं throughout the states, throughout our globe, right? But these two are different things. This is more of a legal terminology, and this is non-legal cultural thing, right? Nation and states, right? आपके handout में एक space रहा होगा. What are the elements of the state? You should have written in that. या फिर अगर आपने notes में बनाया है तो it's good, no matter that, right?
So why was there a controversy in all governments saying India is a union of states?
India is a union of, of course, India is a union of state, no doubt there. Okay, his statement can be portrayed. If I again, जैसे मैं बोल रहा था ना कि इंडिया एक राष्ट्र नहीं है, तो there are people who are having nationalism as their agenda. अगर जिनका राष्ट्रवाद पे ही जिनकी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी खड़ी है, and if they are not taking a stand against them, तो लोग तो उनसे सवाल करेंगे ना, बड़ा राष्ट्रवाद बोलते थे, देखो बोल रहा है, तुम कुछ बोल ही नहीं रहे हो. But this is a fact that India, of course, is a nation. We cannot deny. और आप भी कभी आंसर में तो डिनाई करना ही नहीं कि India is not a nation. Being a bureaucrat or civil servant, you must accept this, that India is one geographical unit, India is one cultural unit, and India is one legal unit. So इसको तो हम नहीं डिनाई कर सकते. बात यह है कि if someone says, अगर मैंने ही अभी बोला कि तमिलनाडु is a nation, तो someone could have challenged it कि आप तो बोल रहे हो तमिलनाडु एक नेशन है, बट इंडिया तो एक राष्ट्र है, आप इंडियन नेशनल हो गए, right? So it's just the context of the statement, how you portray it. But Tamil Nadu is also kind of nationality, right? Your nationality is a thing that if you go abroad, आप इंडिया से बाहर जाते हो, भले ही आप इंडिया में दिल्ली में हो, so you will find that people belonging from Tamil Nadu, they are interacting well, right? तो उनके लिए क्या है, एक belongingness आ रही है कि मैं दिल्ली में हूँ और वो भी तमिल बोल रहा है, मैं भी तमिल बोल रहा हूँ, we are interacting well with each other. But you go in London, you will find Indian कौन है, you will forget कि कौन तमिलनाडु से, कौन हरियाणा से, कौन बिहार से है. You will find that who is an Indian. Forget about that. लंदन में तो इंडिया पाकिस्तान दोनों साथ रहते हैं. यू विल फाइंड, यूरोप में जाओ एशियन हो जाएगी आपकी आइडेंटिटी. सो इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन हाउ यू आर थिंकिंग एंड व्हाट इज द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ योर थॉट, राइट. सो एक चीज आ गई स्टेट. वी विल फॉरगेट नेशंस फ्रॉम हियर आफ्टर. इन टर्म्स ऑफ लॉ वी विल बी टॉकिंग ओनली अबाउट द स्टेट unless it is specific about the nation. ठीक है. So constitution is mainly dealing about the state. There is no mention of nation, right? Even in the constitution you will find India, that the same word he told that India is a union of states. So either there is a mention of union or there is a mention of state. There is no mention of nation. Nation हमारी अंदर की भावनाएं हैं. ठीक है. But we have one state that is having population, that is having territory. But why do we need constitution? Because constitution is not one of the four essentials of the state. State की essential में constitution तो है ही नहीं. But हमें constitution की जरूरत क्यों पड़ी, या क्यों है, या क्या constitution की जरूरत होनी चाहिए? To give rights to the people. और कुछ जरूरत? For governance. और कुछ? Rules and regulations बनाएंगे, right? All of these are true in bits and pieces, but we will have to understand in the greater context when there was no constitution. Constitution is not very ancient phenomena, because when the people started to walk on this earth, when the humans started to walk on this earth, they were nomads. Nomads मतलब यहाँ खाएंगे, फिर अगले दिन दूसरी जगह मिलेंगे, फिर अगले दिन दूसरी जगह मिलेंगे. They were not living a settled life. So there was of course no need to have any law. कल को मेरी geographical territory ही बदल जा रही है, वहां का climate अलग होगा, वहां का खाना अलग होगा, तो क्या करेंगे हम पुराने law का, right? So it all started when humans started to live in society. Humans started to live in a settled life. The concept of state started to emerge then only, because धीरे धीरे people got the knowledge of agriculture. Now, once they got the knowledge of agriculture, before that they were hunters. Simply, they used to hunt animals and they used to consume raw meat. Then the discovery of fire happened. लोगों को लगा रहे यार कच्चा बेकार चबा रहे थे, पका के भी खा सकते हैं. ठीक है. So the time and again the inventions has led to the changes in society. This is true, very true. Right? Necessity is the mother of invention, and this is eternally true. Right? So now that people learnt agriculture. अभी एग्रीकल्चर आएगा. सपोज दैट फॉर एग्रीकल्चर देयर विल बी वन क्रॉप दे आर ग्रोइंग, दैट विल टेक देयर ओन टाइम. आज डाला बीज, कल तो राइस आने जाता है उसमें से. दैट विल टेक 3-4 months. So at least to take care of their crops, people had to settle at one place for 3-4 months. Now after reaping the crops, they will not consume the whole thing. क्योंकि इतने बड़े फील्ड में, आज तो लोगों के पास छोटा छोटा फील्ड है, उस समय तो फील्ड ही फील्ड था. इतने बड़े फील्ड में they had done the agriculture, they will not consume the whole thing. So they will have certain surplus, and surplus give rise to wealth. अगर मेरी सैलरी 10 रुपए है और रात तक मैं 10 रुपए खा जाता हूं, दिन का 10 रुपए कमाता हूं, तो 2 साल के बाद मेरी वेल्थ कितनी है? 0. But if I am saving 2 rupees every day, after 2 years I may have 1000 rupees as my wealth. So this surplus will give rise to wealth. And wealth are not equal in society. Wealth society में equal हो ही नहीं सकता. It can be equitable. There may be efforts to distribute that equitably, but it cannot be absolutely equal. So there will be classes for the wealth. एक की गाय दूसरे चुराएंगे, दूसरे की फसल तीसरी चुराएंगे. In ancient India, during the time of Aryans, the major cause of wars between different tribes was cows. गोधन मतलब cow was a kind of property then. That was the demarcation of a property. जिसके पास जितनी गाय है उतना अमीर वो गांव है. So that was called Gavishti when they used to fight for the cows. ठीक है. So this concept of property started, and also by this time people had started to live a settled life. People had started to live a settled life. Now when you are living in the society, society has a norms. Society has a norms. You have the norms in your family also. कोई दादाजी से ऊंची आवाज में बात नहीं करेगा. This is a norm of your family, है ना? Do not speak lie. झूठ नहीं बोलो. This is a norm of your family. This is of course the norm of our society. क्योंकि सोसाइटी का जो छोटा यूनिट है क्या है, वो फैमिली तो है. फैमिली इज द smaller unit of the society, right? So some norms of your family may be different from that of society. Example, some family may be vegetarian, some family may be non-vegetarian, but there are certain norms which are universal for our society, है ना? Some may be good, some may be bad. हमारे society patriarchal है और उसमें कुछ ऐसे norms हैं that males are considered to be the bread earners of the family and females has to do the work of the housewives. This is kind of old दकियानुसी परंपराएं की बातें हैं. So this should change and they keep on changing, but there will be norms and there will be persons to regulate those norms, है ना? हरियाणा में you might have heard about कि intercaste marriage किया तो खाप बिठा दिया. They are also a kind of regulator. I'm not justifying खाप, but I'm saying that they are also some person who are trying to regulate the norms of the society. उनके society का norms क्या है? Endogamy. Endogamy means when the two persons can only marry among their caste. If someone is marrying outside the caste, that is called exogamy, है ना? तो उसके लिए वो regulate करते हैं norms. In a similar manner, if you talk about state, तो state में बहुत सारे society रहती हैं. उन societies को control करने के लिए norms तो चाहिए, वरना वो uncontrol हो जाएगी. If there is no law in the society, there is anarchy in the society. The people will be more powerful, they will exploit the less powerful. पुराने जमाने में law strict नहीं था. आज के जमाने में क्या है? We have the Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribes Act. Someone says that you are Dalit, he will be punished. पुराने जमाने में लोग proudly कहते थे, you are Dalit, because there was no strict laws. So law will keep on changing according to the changing demands of the society. But in order to regulate the society, you will need what? Laws, right? So that is the first function of the laws. Constitution, of course, is a kind of law. It is the most organic law, most basic law. ठीक है? तो एक तो चीज हो गई यहाँ पे. Now we were talking about the regulators. Law तो आ गया, अब उसको implement कराने वाले भी कुछ लोग होंगे. For example, take the example of police. Police is one agency. जैसे आप बाइक चला के जा रहे हो, स्कूटी चला के जा रहे हो, कार चला के जा रहे हो, हेलमेट नहीं पहना है, सीट बेल्ट नहीं पहना है, that is a law. You will have to wear seat belt while you are driving. You will have to wear helmet while you are driving a scooty or bike. And if you violate that, police is there to enforce. Police can use force against you in terms of fine, डंडा पिटाई, जेल कर सकती है, right? But yet again, अगर पुलिस को भी आपने unlimited power दे दिया, तो क्या करेंगे वो? Exploit करेंगे. Anyone with the unlimited power, unguided power, they will start to take away the freedom of other. This is the norm. ये nature है. Survival of the fittest जो सुना है ना, कि एक दूसरे को करके ही दबा के ही लोग ऊपर बढ़ेंगे. So जिसके पास you will give unguided power, they will try to exploit the person who is least protected in the society. So in order to check those regulators, कि जिनके पास authority है, जिनके पास power है, वो अपनी limitation में रहे, you will need constitution. अगर आज आपको पुलिस अरेस्ट कर लेती है और 24 घंटे के अंदर पेश नहीं करती है कोर्ट के सामने, तो आप क्या बोलते हो? My fundamental right is violated. This is your fundamental right. I don't wish anybody of you get arrested, but if anyone gets arrested and police is not taking you before the court within 24 hours, you can go directly to the Supreme Court and you can demand the writ of habeas corpus. क्योंकि 24 घंटे से ज्यादा जैसे ही पुलिस ने आपको रखा बिना मजिस्ट्रेट के पास ले गए हुए, that is illegal detention, है ना? ठीक है? So property, settled life, so property needs protection. So एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होता है किसके बीच में? जनता के बीच में, the people who are having property and the state. So state says, okay, I will protect you, I will protect your life, nobody will come and commit crime against you, I will protect your property, but yet you will have to adopt my supremacy. You will have to surrender your some freedom to me. So इसलिए इसको हम क्या बोलते हैं? Social contract. So there is an unwritten contract. ऐसा कोई contract लिखा के नहीं गया है, but you can say the practical manifestation of this social contract is our constitution. That everyone is having freedom. You are also having freedom. I am also having freedom. And there is a state who is implementing various kinds of laws and schemes. And still all of these are coexisting. Whenever there is a theft, चोरी होती है, तो आपकी प्रॉपर्टी अटैक हुई, कौन प्रोटेक्ट करेगा? स्टेट प्रोटेक्ट करेगा, भारत का एजेंसीज प्रोटेक्ट करेगी, है ना। बट अगेन आई विल हैव टू अबाइड बाय द रूल्स। हमारी चोरी होती है तो चोर को हम पीटने नहीं जा सकते, बिकॉज दैट इज अ रूल सेट बाय द स्टेट। यू विल नॉट गो, आई विल पनिश हिम, ठीक है। सो दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ अ सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंड देयर कम्स द नीड फॉर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। क्योंकि इस सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को इंप्लीमेंट कराने के लिए हमने क्या किया, व्हाट द पीपल डिड, पीपल सरेंडर्ड देयर राइट्स टू द स्टेट, एंड इफ स्टेट्स नाउ आर नॉट रिस्ट्रिक्टेड दे विल कंज्यूम ऑल द राइट्स ऑफ द सिटीजंस। सिटीजंस के पूरे राइट स्टेट के पास चले जाएंगे और सिटीजंस बेचारे बन के रह जाएंगे, ठीक है। सो दिस इज व्हाई वी नीड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, राइट। I'll dictate it that why there is a need to constitution. You can write. Yeah, okay, हाँ।
इसमें टेक्स्ट इंक्लूड कर सकते हैं, जैसे पहले भी बलि भाग ये सब लेते
कौन सा?
बलि और भाग,
बलि और भाग, that is tax.
नहीं तो वो भी इसमें इंक्लूड कर सकते
Tax is also a kind of restriction, norms है ना, वो स्टेट ने आपके ऊपर लगाया है, अगर आप उसको वायलेट करोगे तो आप जेल जाओगे। वो भी एक एग्जाम्पल है, दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ, व्हाई डू यू गिव टैक्स? बलि या भाग जो आप देते हैं, सरकार उस समय राजाओं को देते थे, क्यों देते थे? बिकॉज दे विल डू द वेलफेयर back. Why do you pay tax to the government? Government has the duty to do the welfare back to the society, है ना। अगर आप गवर्नमेंट को टैक्स नहीं दोगे तो रोड कैसे बनेंगे? नहीं बनेंगे। सरकार, अब मोदी जी के पास पर्सनल जेब में पैसा थोड़ी ना है। ही इज जस्ट फॉर द 5 years द कस्टोडियन ऑफ द वेल्थ ऑफ द इंडिया। आप जो टैक्स भरते हो 5 साल पे, उसको अपनी मर्जी से वो चला सकते हैं, ऑफकोर्स कानून के दायरे में रह के। तो वो भी एक तरह का लिमिटेशन ही है, दोनों तरह के लिए लिमिटेशन है। यू विल हैव टू पे टैक्स एंड ही इज अंडर द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू पे बैक टू यू, है ना। इन ओल्डर टाइम्स, लिख लो, मैं लिखा है तो ये आपके हैंडआउट में नहीं मिलेगा। इन ओल्डर टाइम्स there was the concept of, in older times there was the concept of police state. There was the concept of police state, which is mainly concerned to protect the country from external aggression or preservation of law and order. However, the concept of state, is not bound with this limited role in the modern world. In the modern world, modern states has moved beyond the police functions and has acquired the nature of welfare state. Hence, full stop. Hence, it becomes necessary, hence it becomes necessary for the modern states, to create certain organs, which will act on its behalf, in fulfillment of its welfare functions. These organs needs to be regulated. These organs needs to be regulated and such regulations are achieved by the Constitution. Right? समझ गया कि पुराने जमाने में mainly the function of the state was what I've explained, protection of the people from external sources and also from internal threats. पुलिस का काम करती थी. पुलिस का काम क्या है कि बाहर से कोई हमला करेगा, पुलिस एंड आर्मी बीइंग द सेम, सो बाहर से हमला करेगा उसके लिए वी हैव आर्मी, एंड इंटरनल क्राइम्स को कंट्रोल करने के लिए, इंटरनल प्रोटेक्शन के लिए वी हैव पुलिस. सो इन ओल्डर टाइम्स स्टेट वाज लिमिटेड टू दिस फंक्शन ओनली, बट एज द पॉपुलेशन स्टार्टेड टू इंक्रीज, different countries around the world started to adopt the democratic principles. So the concept of welfare also was included in the functions of the state. Now welfare will include making schemes for vulnerable section of society, promoting research and development. हमारे यहाँ railways हैं, तो railway is the biggest transporter in India. तो ये किसका काम है? You, Ambani ji, single person cannot run the railway. They can only run some private trains. पूरा रेलवे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अगर एक पर्सन रन कर रहा है, सो इधर दैट विल क्रिएट अ मोनोपोली और द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर विल फेल. राइट? सो स्टेट हैड टू डू सर्टेन वेलफेयर फंक्शंस. नाउ अब एक फंक्शन ही नहीं है. रेलवेज इज वन एग्जांपल, एजुकेशन इज अनदर, हेल्थ इज अनदर. राइट? है ना? फैमिली, मैरिज, इन सबको रेगुलेट करना, दैट इज अनदर. इफ समवन्स राइट इज वायलेटेड, गिविंग देम जस्टिस इज अनदर फंक्शन. है ना? इतना हमने सबको फंडामेंटल राइट दे दिया. व्हाट इफ समवन इज डूइंग डिस्क्रिमिनेशन विद यू? You need to go to the court, and there has to be a person who is independent to give you justice. Right? So for all these purposes, for all this concept, implementing the concept of welfare state, it required different organs. So what are the three major organs which the state has? Legislature, executive, and judiciary. So now state will also have their three instrumentalities. One is legislature, another is executive, and third one is, what are their functions? So this legislature is mainly responsible for making laws. So if state has to be governed, country has to be governed, that will be governed on the basis of law. There should be rule of law. Who is ruling India now, today? Modi ji? Nahi. Law is ruling India. Modi ji has been given the power for 5 years, and that is through the mandate of the law. There is a rule of law in India. आई विल एक्सप्लेन रूल ऑफ लॉ, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है और हर दूसरे तीसरे साल एक क्वेश्चन आता है रूल ऑफ लॉ से. दैट इज गिवन अंडर आर्टिकल 14. इफ देयर इज नो रूल ऑफ लॉ, आई एंड यू कैन नॉट बी इक्वल. If I am more powerful, I will do according to my whims and fancies. It is the law which is stopping me कि मैं अपनी मर्जी से कुछ ना करूं, है ना? So there has to be law, and these laws are made by whom? Legislature. So making law, and in more technical term you can say enacting legislations. धीरे धीरे ऐसी टेक्निकल शब्द आप सीख जाओगे, and you should use these kinds of technical words in your answer. फिर लगता है क्या कि बच्चा पढ़ के आया है, किसी की बातें सुन के नहीं आया है. खाली पढ़ के जाने में और सुन के जाने में फर्क होता है. If you have read something, you will know the apt words. If you have simply heard something, you may know the story, you may be missing out technical key terms, है ना? So making law is the role of legislature. Suppose let's take an example that there is one act in India, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. क्या बोलते हैं इसको? मनरेगा. सुना होगा. What is this act? If anyone is unemployed and they are willing to work, it is the duty of the government to provide them with 100 days of work in a given calendar year. एक साल में 100 दिन की जॉब गवर्नमेंट को देनी ही देनी है. It is the right of every person who is willing to do the work. If government fails to do that, government will give them money in lieu of the 100 days. 100 दिन की सैलरी घर बैठे. तो आप लोग क्यों नहीं मांगते हो? Provided that you are willing to do unskilled labor. अगर आपको जाना है सरकार से मांगने 100 दिन का काम दो, तो एक टोकरी उठाओ, चलो मिट्टी निकालते हैं, रोड भरते हैं, है ना? So if anyone is willing to do unskilled labor, government can provide them 100 days of work. राइट. अब ऐसा नहीं कि हाँ मेरे को रात में शौक चढ़ा, मेरे को डॉक्टर बनना है, सरकार को बोलूंगा लाओ पेशेंट, आज करूंगा सर्जरी. ठीक है, तो ये हत्या का मामला बनेगा. ठीक है. तो मनरेगा इज वन काइंड ऑफ एक्ट. वेदर दिस एक्ट्स आर प्रॉपरली बीइंग इंप्लीमेंटेड और नॉट, whether everyone is getting this opportunity or not, it is whose responsibility. If someone is getting discriminated, मनरेगा का जॉब मांगने के लिए बीडीओ साहब के पास जाते हैं, बीडीओ साहब बोलते हैं आप शूद्र है, आपको काम नहीं देंगे. So this is discrimination. It is whose responsibility to check whether these laws are getting implemented in proper way or not, if someone's right is violated or not. But government is implementing the law, na? The duty to implement the laws lies with the executive. This means government. But whether government is implementing the law in correct way or not, ये किसकी जवाबदेही है? जुडिशियरी की, कोर्ट की. जब आपके साथ कोई दुर्घटना होती है, कोई आपका राइट वायलेट करता है, समवन डू फ्रॉड विथ यू, कहाँ जाते हैं हम? कोर्ट में. क्या बोलते हैं? इस लॉ के हिसाब से ऐसा होना चाहिए था, मुझे नहीं मिल रहा, मुझे लाके दो. सो वेदर द लॉज आर बीइंग प्रॉपरली इंप्लीमेंटेड और नॉट, this is the duty of judiciary. Your fundamental rights are secured to you or not? Your fundamental rights are guaranteed to you or not? So this is why Supreme Court has been called as a guarantor and custodian of fundamental rights in India. So they ensures fundamental rights, or you can write guarantee fundamental rights of the citizens. Now एक law बना दिया, judiciary is checking that whether they are getting implemented in proper way or not. But what if the law is bad in itself? Parliament ने गलत law ही बना दिया हो. Can Parliament make any wrong piece of legislation? Example? Yes, ये सही जवाब है, but कैसे? अभी बवाल हुआ था फार्मर्स, अभी और भी होता है. That there was a girl in Maharashtra, right? Bala Saheb को जानते हैं आप? So when he died, it is considered to be one of the largest human gatherings. उनके फ्यूनरल में जाने के लिए इतनी भीड़ इकट्ठा हो गई. एक तो अपना कुंभ होता है, उससे थोड़ा ही कम भीड़ रहा होगा उधर. राइट. कुंभ इज एक्चुअली फॉर मंथ और 2 months, तो वहाँ पे पर डे थोड़े थोड़े लोग आते हैं. यहाँ पे एक ही दिन बहुत सारे लोग आए थे. It was that popular. So that girl was trying to catch a flight. She was stuck in the traffic. So she tweeted something कि लोग मरने के बाद भी दूसरे को चैन से नहीं छोड़ते हैं. So there was a section in Indian Technology Act 66A. अब उसके अंदर में उस लड़की को पुलिस ने अरेस्ट कर लिया। You are spreading communal hatred. आप किसी को ऑफेंसिव मैसेज भेज रहे हो सोशल मीडिया का यूज करके। बट उस एक्ट में प्रॉब्लम ये थी दैट सेक्शन 66A डिड नॉट डिफाइन व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय ऑफेंसिव मैसेज, दैट वाज वेरी वेग। अब मैं सीधा बोलता हूं ऑफेंसिव मैसेज, राइट। मैं यहां पे खड़ा होकर बोलता हूं राम जी ने सीता माता के ऊपर अत्याचार किया, जो राम जी के भक्त होंगे उनको बुरा लग जाएगा, और जो एक तरह के और भक्त होंगे उनको नहीं लग सकता है। अब कोई नास्तिक होगा उसको फर्क नहीं पड़ सकता है। तो दिस गेटिंग वर्ड इन एन ऑफेंसिव वे डिपेंड्स अपॉन द पर्सन हु इज इंटरप्रेटिंग। मैंने किस सेंस में बोला दैट इज माय थिंग, आपने किस सेंस में समझा, आपके लिए ऑफेंसिव हो सकता है, किसी के लिए नहीं हो सकता है, उसके लिए फर्क नहीं पड़ सकता है। दिस मे बी द थ्री थिंग्स। सो दिस वाज वेग, एंड इफ यू लीव वेगनेस इन एनी लॉ यू गिव आर्बिट्ररी पावर्स इन द हैंड ऑफ पुलिस। पुलिस तो किसी को भी ऑफेंसिव बना देगी। तुमने खास दिया ऑफेंसिव है, मुझे कोरोना हो गया, चलो। तो दिस इज द वे। अब ये लॉ जो था वो बड़ा वेग था। सुप्रीम कोर्ट व्हाइल डिसाइडिंग दैट केस struck down that particular section 66A of the IT Act, that it is vague. You cannot stop someone's freedom of speech and expression on the basis of vague laws, right? So what happens that whether to check any law is reasonable or not, it is also the duty of judiciary. So judiciary firstly will protect your fundamental right, it will give you the justice if there is any violation of your rights, and thirdly it will check whether the law is good or not, whether the law is violating the principles of constitution or not, right? So it will also check the constitutionality of
Judicial review इसको बोलते हैं।
kind of. So judiciary is reviewing the law, right? But judicial review is much more than law only. जुडिशियल रिव्यू में एग्जीक्यूटिव के एक्शंस भी आते हैं, जुडिशियल रिव्यू में अदर पर्सन, प्राइवेट पर्सन के एक्शन भी आएंगे, है ना। तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनलिटी ऑफ लॉज, दिस विल बी इंश्योर्ड बाय द जुडिशियरी, दैट वेदर एनी लॉ इज कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल और अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल। द केस आई टॉक्ड अबाउट, उसके बारे में हम डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे इन आर्टिकल 19(1) व्हेन वी विल रीच, बट फॉर योर नॉलेज यू कैन राइट द नेम ऑफ द केसेस। दैट गर्ल वाज कॉल्ड श्रेया सिंघल versus Union of India, right? So these are the three wings, or these are the three institutions of the state, right? These are the three instrumentalities of the state upon which the state will act, state will perform their welfare functions. Now if you talk about the legislature, legislature can be of two types. One is bicameral, another is unicameral. In today and tomorrow's class, my main focus is to give you the meanings of the terms, so that जब हम उस terms को आगे discuss करेंगे तो आप confuse मत होना कि bicameralism क्यों बोल दिया, unicameralism क्या होता है, ठीक है। So legislature can be of two types. One is unicameral and another is bicameral. Simply legislature is a group of people. Legislature is the group of people, the people who will be making the law. They may be elected, they may not be elected. वो अलग बात है। जहां पे elected लोग होंगे, that will be called a democracy. But there may be a group of person in the Hitler's government. Hitler is a dictator himself. He will appoint 5 person that you will make law for whole Germany. So they are non-elected person, but still they are making the laws. They are what? Legislature. But they are non-elected legislature, so they are non-democratic legislature. So mostly you will find that wherever there is democracy, there are two kinds of legislature. Either they may have bicameral legislature or unicameral legislature. Cameral means houses, right? Cameral means houses. आप example लोग स्कूल में पढ़ते थे. So in school there was class 5A, class 5B, class 5C. होता था. Everything was class 5 only. But they have the 3 different sections. और आपके स्कूल में भी हाउस होता है, दयानंद हाउस, विवेकानंद हाउस, और उसके बाद वैशाली हाउस, तक्षशिला हाउस, ये मेरे स्कूल में था। हाँ, ऐसे सबके स्कूल में अलग अलग होता है। सो माय स्कूल वाज बेस्ड ऑन 4 एंशिएंट प्लेसेस, वैशाली, तक्षशिला, विक्रमशिला एंड गंधारा। सो दीज आर द 4 हिस्टोरिकल प्लेसेस ऑफ इंडिया। फिर कलर भी होता है। सो दीज आर व्हाट? कैमरल मींस हाउसेस वेयर ग्रुप्स ऑफ पीपल विल सिट। सपोज इन इंडियन पार्लियामेंट दैट इज बेस्ड इन दिल्ली, So there are two houses. One is what? Lok Sabha and another is Rajya Sabha.
So voice
So
not
these
coming.
are not the original names, by the way. These were inserted in the constitution in 1954, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Their original names are House of People and Council of States. Council of States. अब वो होता क्या है, राइट? उसको समझने के लिए यूनिकैमरलिज्म मीनिंग वन हाउस एंड बाइकैमरलिज्म मीनिंग टू हाउसेस. क्या बाइकैमरलिज्म में टू से ज्यादा हाउसेस हो सकते हैं? नहीं हो सकते. बाई मीन्स टू. If you are having any legislature is having more than two houses, that will be multicameralism. Generally, आप पूरी दुनिया में देखोगे, either they have unicameralism or they have bicameralism. In United States also, they have bicameralism. So one is Senate, one is House of People, House of Commons, right? House of People they have. House of Commons is there in England, and House of Lords. वहाँ भी bicameralism, right? So in our India, the legislature of the center is called Parliament. In United Kingdom, it is Parliament. In United States of America, it is called Congress. So वहाँ के Congress के दो houses हैं, Senate and House of People. So House of People in India, हमारे यहाँ देखो, अगर आप union की बात करोगे, we have the different levels of the state. One is union, that is central, and you can call it states या फिर provinces, है ना? अभी स्टेट मैंने अलग डेफिनेशन बताया, तो कंफ्यूज नहीं करना है. इफ आई एम कॉलिंग स्टेट्स, एस लगा दिया, देन आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट ये जो छोटे छोटे स्टेट्स हैं, राइट? देयर इज अ वेरी माइन्यूट डिफरेंस. स्टेट्स हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में स्टेट देखोगे, स्टेट में हैव डिफरेंट मीनिंग, स्टेट्स में हैव डिफरेंट मीनिंग. आपको अगर नहीं समझ में आता है, यू कैन रेफर इट एज अ प्रोविंसेस, राइट? सो वन इज सेंट्रल एंड अनदर इज प्रोविंशियल. इसको आप कह सकते हो यूनियन की गवर्नमेंट, एंड इसको आप कह सकते हो स्टेट की गवर्नमेंट, राइट? सो दीज थ्री ऑर्गन्स, लेजिस्लेचर, एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड जुडिशियरी, विल आल्सो एग्जिस्ट एट सेंट्रल लेवल एंड इट विल आल्सो एग्जिस्ट एट स्टेट लेवल और प्रोविंशियल लेवल, राइट? सो द लेजिस्लेचर एट द सेंट्रल लेवल इज कॉल्ड पार्लियामेंट. संसद भवन बोलते हैं. संसद भवन, द पार्लियामेंट ऑफ इंडिया, इज लोकेटेड इन आवर नेशनल कैपिटल, that is Delhi, और उसके दो हाउसेस हैं, that is bicameralism. The legislature at the states are referred as state legislative assembly, right? उसको क्या बोलते हैं? विधानसभा, ठीक है? So सेंट्रल पे जो लेजिस्लेचर होगा, that is called parliament, और यहां पे state legislative assembly, right? So in most of the states of India, we have unicameralism. एक ही हाउस होता है वहां पे. Only there are 6 states in India which is having bicameralism. Which are they? UP, Bihar, these are the two neighbors. Then Maharashtra and Karnataka, these are the two neighbors. Then Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, these are the two neighbors. To total 6 states. Earlier, Jammu Kashmir also used to have the bicameralism, but Jammu Kashmir is no more a state now. Jammu Kashmir को तोड़ दिया. There are some states who are willing to have bicameralism, but still that is not existing. Like West Bengal, they want to have 2 houses, but still at present they are having only 1 house, because creating or abolishing the second house at the state level is the power of parliament. तो parliament करेगी तभी होगा ये. अभी के लिए हम इतना समझते हैं, central legislature means parliament, state have state legislative assembly, but in 6 states we have legislative councils also. So 6 states में we have the bicameralism, 2 houses हैं. Remaining states में we have single house, unicameralism. So wherever there will be unicameralism, their legislature will be known as state legislative assembly. But in 6 states, they have 1 additional chamber in their legislature. That is called state legislative council, right? They will be called state legislative council. Okay. Now, in the similar form, they will have a different executive at central, and they will have a different executive at state, right? What is the duty of the executive? Implement the laws. So who are the executive? Government. Who is the government? Ministers, right? Achha, you are preparing for IAS, IPS examination. So will you form the part of an executive, or will you form the part of judiciary or legislature? ठीक है. So there are two kinds of executive. One is political executive, another one is permanent executive. Permanent यानी bureaucracy. IAS, IPS, secretaries, all those persons are the part of permanent executive. Permanent means that their tenure is fixed. Once they come into the service, they will retire and then they will go. हाँ, बीच में corruption वगैरह कर लिया तो अलग बात है. पैसे कम कमाने हैं. You are there for welfare of people. Welfare, है ना? So executive is of two kinds: political and permanent. These political persons have to appear in examination every 5 years. जनता से एग्जामिनेशन होता है इनका. They will have to win the election and then they will be forming the part of executive, right? This permanent executive are appointed. They are not elected, appointed by the government, right? Okay. So executive at the union level is headed by whom? President of India. So President of India is the head of all the executives at the central level. He will appoint the prime minister, and based upon the advice of the prime minister, other ministers are appointed. Once you will become the officers, you will also get your appointment sanctioned by the President of India. IAS, IPS सब लोग क्यों बनना चाहते हैं? It is constitutionally protected that no person can be dismissed by any person other inferior in rank than person who has appointed him. अगर किसी IAS, IPS को जिसने अपॉइंट किया है, उससे जूनियर पर्सन कोई उसे हटा नहीं सकता. IAS, IPS को अपॉइंट किसने किया है?
सर इनऑडिबल.
प्रेसिडेंट ने. प्रेसिडेंट से जूनियर सब है, उसको कोई हटा, प्रेसिडेंट से जूनियर उनको कोई हटा नहीं सकता. प्रेसिडेंट से सीनियर कौन है? कोई नहीं. He is the first citizen of the India, right? So only the president can appoint an IAS and IPS officer, and only he can terminate. ट्रांसफर करते रहते हैं नेता लोग, उन लोगों की मर्जी. ठीक है. But appointment and removal can only be done by the president. This you will find in Article 312 of the Constitution. ठीक है. So executive at the union level, they are political. Political में you have prime minister and his council of minister, and you also have the president of India. He is the head of all the executive at the union level. At the similar form, in the state level, you will find the executive, governor and chief minister. Executive at the state level कौन हो जाएगा? Governor and chief minister. State level पे मंत्री लोग होते हैं, chief minister की cabinet. So they are executive at the state level. Now coming to judiciary. What is the state judiciary in India, and what is the central judiciary in India?
सुप्रीम कोर्ट.
Acha. But in India, we do not have anything called state judiciary or union judiciary, because judiciary in India is integrated. Supreme Court and High Court are just the ranks of the court. They are just the hierarchy. Now, why we call it as an integrated judiciary? देखो, state की legislature है, law बनाएगी. Effect of this law will be throughout the territory of the state. It will be implemented by the executive of the state, right? Now, anyone within the state violates that law, he will be punished by local courts. If he is not satisfied, he will go to the High Court, and if he is not satisfied, where he will go? Supreme Court. तो state की law है, लेकिन वो जा कहाँ रहा है finally? Supreme Court के. अगर judiciary अलग होती इंडिया में, तो Supreme Court में नहीं जाना चाहिए था उसको, because it is a state law, right? In the similar format, if Union Parliament is making a law and someone is violated, सबसे पहला केस कहाँ चलेगा? जिला के कोर्ट में चलेगा. वो तो स्टेट का पार्ट है. So हमारे यहाँ we do not have any distinction in judiciary. Any law which is made by the union legislature, it can be tried by any judiciary. Any law which is made by the state legislature, it can be go and to appeal to the Supreme Court. So we have the concept of single and integrated judicial system. Same judiciary for union laws and same judiciary for state laws. But if you compare that with United States of America, they have clear-cut demarcation. There they have two kinds of court. State के law की सुनवाई करने के लिए अलग कोर्ट है, यूनियन की लॉ सुनवाई करने के लिए अलग कोर्ट है. Even in United States, there are 50 states. All of them are having different constitutions. But in India, we have single constitution, right? So we follow what system of single, integrated, and independent judiciary. Now, judicial independence is different thing. क्यों judiciary हमारे यहाँ independent है? We will talk. So, what is the rank in the judiciary? First, we have Supreme Court. Then we have High Court. Right? So, Supreme Court is there for whole nation. There is one Supreme Court. High Court, there shall be High Court in each state, ideally, but it is not mandatory. जब कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बना था तो इट वाज मेड मैंडेटरी दैट इन एवरी स्टेट देयर शैल बी वन हाई कोर्ट, बट कुछ स्टेट बहुत छोटे होते हैं लाइक गोवा, राइट? तो वहां पे जरूरी नहीं है कि एक अपना हाई कोर्ट हो. हाई कोर्ट के जजेस का बहुत खर्चा होता है. दे हैव द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ हाईएस्ट ऑर्डर. जजेस कैन नॉट बी रिमूव्ड इन एनी वे, ओनली दे कैन बी रिमूव्ड बाय द पार्लियामेंट. सो गिविंग देम अ हाई कोर्ट रिक्वायर्स टू मच ऑफ एक्सपेंस बाय द स्टेट. सो इसलिए बहुत छोटे छोटे 2 स्टेट्स के लिए कॉमन हाई कोर्ट बना दिया. सो ओवरऑल as of now, if I can remember, there are 24 high courts in India only. States and union territory are more than 30. ठीक है. So 7th Amendment Act हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में किया गया. That told कि there can be common high court for 2 states, right? So Supreme Court, High Court, and below Supreme Court and High Court, you will find what? District Court. Session Court is also correct, but there is a difference between Session Court and District Court. Now, in Supreme Court, you can go with civil cases, you can go with criminal cases, you can also go with constitutional cases. In High Court, you can go with civil cases, you can go with criminal cases, and you can also go with constitutional cases. Below High Court, the courts in India are not permitted to interpret the Constitution. उनको उतना कैपेबल नहीं है, टाइम पास हो तुम लोग, ठीक है? So below High Court, the power to interpret the Constitution are not with the court. तो High Court के पास, High Court से नीचे कितने तरीके के केसेस चल सकते हैं? Only civil cases and criminal cases. So there are 2 kinds of court. One which will hear the criminal case and one which will hear the civil case. So the courts which will hear the criminal case are called Sessions Court, and the other court which will hear the civil case, they are called District Court. अभी ये इतने पे नहीं रुकता है, इसके नीचे बहुत नीचे तक आता है. So in the criminal side, you will find that you have additional session court, additional session judge, then you have assistant session judge, then you have chief judicial magistrate, then you have judicial magistrate class 1, and then you have JM class 2. So this is the whole hierarchy of the court. He is the least grade criminal judge in India. मैं ऊपर बना देता हूँ, नॉट टू वरी, किसी को नहीं दिख रहा होगा. Supreme Court, High Court. Then you have Session Court, Additional Session Court, Assistant Session Court, Chief Judicial Magistrate, Judicial Magistrate Class 1, Judicial Magistrate Class 2. So Judicial Magistrate Class 2 is the least grade judicial officer in India. सबसे कम पावर इसके पास है. This hierarchy has been set up according to the power. What is the difference between criminal case and civil case? In criminal case, जो रेमेडी मिलती है वो क्या होती है? पनिशमेंट होती है. अगर किसी ने किसी को मार दिया, मर्डर कर दिया, तो बंदा तो मर गया, उसको पैसे देके क्या करोगे? So simply the person who is accused, if found guilty, he will be punished, उसको जेल भेज दिया जाएगा. But in civil cases, the compensation is monetary. जैसे आपसे किसी ने पैसे ठग लिए, तो this is a civil case. हालांकि ठगी is also punishable in IPC. Suppose that I came to you, आपके पास शॉप है, मैंने आपसे पेन खरीदा, I took the pen and I refused to pay you back. तो क्या होता है ये? I owe the debt to you. If I am not paying you, you can go to the court. Court will ask me to repay you, whatever the sum is there, right? So in civil cases, the remedy जो फैसला होता है, that is with the compensation. In criminal cases, it is with punishment. So यहाँ पे जो judges हैं, they are also demarcated according to the power to give the punishment. The judicial magistrate class 2 is authorized maximum to give the sentence of 1 year, right? 2 years, 7 years. These can pass any judgments, but if they are passing the judgments of death, दिस जजमेंट नीड्स टू बी कंफर्म्ड बाय द हाई कोर्ट। ठीक है, ऐसे क्लासिफिकेशन है। सिविल में यू विल हैव द डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट, देन यू हैव एडिशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट, एडीजे जिसको बोलते हैं, देन यू हैव असिस्टेंट डिस्ट्रिक्ट जज, राइट। देन ऐसे करते करते जो सबसे लीस्ट ग्रेड आता है, ही इज कॉल्ड मुंसिफ। आपके अगर किसी दोस्त ने लॉ किया होगा एंड इफ दे आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर जुडिशियल सर्विसेज, डायरेक्ट जाना चाहते हैं वो, तो इसकी तैयारी करते हैं मुंसिफ की। लीस्ट ग्रेड सबसे नीचे वाले में भर्ती होती है। एंड हेयर द डिमार्केशन इज डन अकॉर्डिंग टू द पावर टू गिव द कंपनसेशन। कौन कितनी बड़ी कंपनसेशन दे सकता है ना, ये कितने भी रुपए की कंपनसेशन दे सकता है डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट। ये नीचे कम, इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द स्टेट टू स्टेट, हर स्टेट का वेरिएशन है, राइट। सो दिस इज द हायरार्की ऑफ जुडिशियरी इन इंडिया। 3 ऑर्गन आपको समझ में आ गए, that these are the 3 organs of the state, what are their functions, how we have classified in India, right? कोई confusion नहीं? चलो, अब इसके बाद आता है 2 वर्ड आता है, एक होता है डेमोक्रेसी एंड दूसरा होता है रिपब्लिक, राइट। ये 2 करेंगे, उसके बाद हमारा टाइम हो जाएगा आज का 7 बजे। चीफ जुडिशियल मजिस्ट्रेट, चीफ जुडिशियल मजिस्ट्रेट,
तो ये जो आपके स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल बताया कहाँ होते हैं?
6 स्टेट्स में ही है, ओनली 6 स्टेट्स में लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल है। और जहां भी लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल है मतलब 2 हाउस हो गए, 2 हाउस हो गए तो क्या हो गया भाई, कैमरलिज्म हो गया, ठीक है। राइट, डेमोक्रेसी। So we all know that we are living in a world of democracy. We are living in a democratic world. Our country is also democratic. But what is the essence of democracy? How do you define a democracy? That is the most apt definition so far. थोड़ा क्लीशे टाइप का लगता है लेकिन है तो सही। It is the government of the people, for the people and by the people. Abraham Lincoln. राइट। तो अगर कहीं भी आपको लिखने की जरूरत पड़े तो आप लिख सकते हो इसकी जान मत की सबने यही लिखा है, सबने लिखा है क्योंकि ये सबसे सही है, राइट। सो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ द पीपल, गवर्नमेंट फॉर द पीपल एंड गवर्नमेंट by the people, right? Now we need to compare democracy with other forms of government in order to understand it better, right? What could be the other forms of government which are existing in today's world? One is monarchy, dictatorship, monarchy, dictatorship, right? In monarchy, what happens that the entire government, entire state is run by a person, firstly, who is not elected, and secondly, he is running that from generations after generations. Monarchy का क्या होता है? सबसे basic feature है that will be hereditary in nature. Otherwise, if a single person has ruled and he passed away, then some other persons will come that may have a different meaning. Like there is another concept of oligarchy. Oligarchy. So oligarchy means what? Group of people is running the country. There will be few affluent sections in the society and they will be running. आपस में से कोई, जैसे वो 3 साहब हो गए, उनके दोस्त हो गए, उनके दोस्त हो गए, उनके दोस्त हो गए, इन सब ने एक ग्रुप बनाया है। आज वो रूल करेगा, कल वो रूल करेगा, तो आपस में बंटवारा करके रूल करेंगे। So when the whole system is ruled by, whole country is ruled by a group of people, that is called oligarchy. Monarchy, if it is being ruled by a monarch which is passing from generation to generation, that is called monarchy. Dictatorship, one person, but what is more important, that he is not following any kinds of rules and regulations. In some monarchy, you will find various kinds of rules and regulations. Take example of Bhutan. Bhutan is ruled by monarch, right? Britain is also being ruled by monarch, but they have an elected government. This is why we can call them a constitutional monarch or a democratic government. Britain is a democracy because they have an elected government, but they also have a monarch. Britain में होती है ना, यूके में we have queen, अभी queen गई, अभी king आ गए हैं, है ना? तो their hereditary है. Can anyone outside that family become the king or the queen? अपने लिए बन जाएगा, सपने में, है ना. In reality, they cannot become the king or queen of चाहे कितने भी बड़ी. Even the Rishi Sunak, who is now the prime minister, he becomes so popular. अगर हो जाते हैं तो भी वो वहाँ king और queen नहीं बन सकते, because that is reserved for a particular family. सिर्फ उस फैमिली के लोग ही वहाँ king और queen बन सकते हैं, right? पार्लियामेंट, वहाँ पार्लियामेंट है, दैट इज डेमोक्रेसी. ब्रिटेन, अब वही कॉन्सेप्ट, ये जितने भी कॉन्सेप्ट है डेमोक्रेसी के, ऑल दीज थिंग्स, इट स्टार्टेड इन यूरोप ओनली. यूरोप वाज द, कह सकते हैं इन मॉडर्न सेंस, दे वर द अर्लीस्ट सिविलाइज्ड. वैसे तो हमारी सभ्यता 5000 साल पुरानी है, एंड दैट इज, देयर इज अ कंटीन्यूअस एविडेंस ऑफ 5000 years फ्रॉम हड़प्पा टिल डेट. वो 5000 साल हो जाते हैं, बट हम भावनाएं बाकी और बोलते हैं 3-4 लाख साल पुरानी तो है ही, तो वो एक अलग बात है. बट वी हैव अ डॉक्यूमेंटेड थिंग फ्रॉम हड़प्पा, वी हैव द एविडेंस ऑफ हड़प्पन सिविलाइजेशन. देयर आर कॉन्टेम्पररी लाइक मेसोपोटामिया, इजिप्शियन, ये सब सिविलाइजेशंस हैं व्हिच आर वे अर्लियर देन द यूरोपियन सिविलाइजेशंस. बट अगर हम मॉडर्न टेक्निक्स की बात करेंगे, डेमोक्रेसी स्टार्टेड इन यूरोप, है ना. सोसाइटी कैसे होगा, सोशियोलॉजी, सोसाइटी की स्टडी, it all started, reformations, enlightenment, all these things started in Europe. So modern sense mein, they were earliest civilized. So all this concept of rule of law, liberty, where we have taken this concept of equality and liberty, France, Europe hai na. So all this modern concept, all these democratic concepts has seen its origin in Europe only, and it all started around England. England was the central, जहां से सारी चीजें हो रही थी, because in 1215 only the king issued Magna Carta, that is called the most ancient document which is giving anyone any kind of right. पहले तो सारे राइट किसके पास थे, मोनार्क के पास, बट मैग्ना कार्टा वाज द फर्स्ट डॉक्यूमेंट. इसीलिए जब कभी भी बोला जाता है फंडामेंटल राइट को, सो वी से फंडामेंटल राइट्स इज द मैग्ना कार्टा ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. सो मैग्ना कार्टा वाज इशूड बाय इंग्लैंड. इट्स, देयर विल बी सर्टेन राइट्स विद द पब्लिक, नॉट ऑल द राइट्स विल बी देयर विद द किंग. ठीक है. तो monarchy in essence means it is ruled hereditary. Now democracy means it is government of the people. Of the people means what? Suppose that this is a country, there are people, so many people, कुछ मोटे कुछ पतले, right? So if I say government of the people, यानी these peoples may constitute a government. The people who are running the government are selected from these peoples only. So it is government of the people, right? Monarchy mein they are selected from a particular family. We cannot say it is government of the people. It is government of the family, you can say, right? So it is, democracy is the government of the people, because those people who are ruling the country, who will be having the rule for 5, 6, 10, 8 years, जैसा भी उस देश का constitution बोलेगा, they will be elected from amongst the people. So it is the government consisting of the people, right? Now government by the people का क्या मतलब है? So जो 3 पर्सन को हमने, एक को प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनाया, एक को डिफेंस मिनिस्टर बनाया, एक को फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर बनाया, so these people are elected by people only. हम elect करते हैं ना, we are electing the people. We are electing the people who are going to form the government, and we are electing from amongst ourselves. So Modi ji happened to be an ordinary citizen 20 years ago, है ना? Even this the prime minister, first prime minister Jawaharlal Nehru, once a time he was also an ordinary kid. Then he grew on. Abdul Kalam सड़क पे newspaper बेचा करते थे. So it is government of the people, right? Secondly, it is government by the people. So government तो बन गई. What is the motive of the government? To do the welfare of the people. In monarchy, motive is to hold the power. In dictatorship, it is the despotic rule. जो मर्जी आएगा वही करेंगे. वो दिखाते हैं कि हम हैं बहुत अच्छे, बहुत भले. हिटलर थोड़ी ना बोलता था कि मैं बुरा आदमी हूं, बोलता था मैं पूरी दुनिया बदल दूंगा. अब कैसे? फौज बना के, है ना? He told that there will be, everyone will be pure, so eliminate all the impure. Who are pure? नाजी जर्मन्स, है ना? तो उसने हॉलोकास्ट किया था, भर भर के लोगों को मारे थे एक चैम्बर में बंद कर करके. ठीक है. अब उसका सोच था कि मैं लोगों को प्यूरिफाई कर रहा हूं, दुनिया प्यूरिफाई कर रहा हूं. वो मूवी देखा आपने, मार्वल का एंड गेम, है ना? थैनोस आता है ना, व्हाट ही सेज दैट आई विल मेक अ बेटर वर्ल्ड. सो कैप्टन अमेरिका सेज बाय किलिंग पीपल that world will be born out of blood. तो बोलता है it doesn't matter. तो वो क्या है, वो डिस्पॉट है, उसको एक ही सोच समझ में आती है, दूसरे की सोच समझ में नहीं आती. But the essence of democracy is that even though I may have different thought, you may have different thought, but we will agree on disagreement that okay, this is your right to have your thought, and this is my right to have your thought, my thought. So we agree to disagree, right? So government for the people means the main aim of the democratic government is the welfare of the people. This is why the democracy started when the concept of modern state started. जैसा आप देखो, आपको लिखा है ना मैंने, in ancient time it was police state. वेलफेयर करने का तो मोटिव है ही नहीं, तो पुलिस बनाओ, लोगों को लाठी मारो, टैक्स वसूलो. वो भी एक तरह का स्टेट है जो राजा लोग चलाते थे, वहां पे वेलफेयर का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं था. बट वंस स्टार्टेड वेलफेयर, पीपल नीड डेमोक्रेटिक गवर्नमेंट. So if there has to be welfare in the society, there has to be a government which is democracy. And all these things can be ensured by elections. By elections. अगर timely election नहीं होगा, if Modi ji comes to power and he knows that I will be the ruler till my life, no one can remove me, do you think he will follow the democratic process? He will become the dictator. He will also become the despot. So it is important that from time and again there is change in the leadership, right? There has to be the change in the leadership. So one is elections, but this election should be free and fair elections, because election तो बहुत सारे country में होते हैं, but they are all not democracy. Elections happens in the China, but China is not a democracy. Election also happen in Russia, but Russia is also not a democracy. Okay, so democracy is of course this government of the people, for the people, and by the people, and this is conducted by regular elections and free and fair elections. Right? This is democracy. Now there may be another state. एक कोई डेमोक्रेसी तो हो गया, हमने गवर्नमेंट चूज किया है, बट देयर इज अनदर काइंड ऑफ गवर्नमेंट वेयर द हेड ऑफ द स्टेट, देयर मे बी वन स्टेट एंड गवर्नमेंट आर टू डिफरेंट थिंग. यू अंडरस्टैंड? गवर्नमेंट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ द स्टेट. सो इन सम कंट्री गवर्नमेंट में बी इलेक्टेड, बट द हेड ऑफ द स्टेट, जैसे हमारे घर में क्या होता है, फैमिली है. In our family, there will be one person who will be given the designation of the head of the family, right? But in practice, all the decisions of my family may be taken after due discussions and voting. तो मेरी फैमिली की गवर्नमेंट क्या हो गई, डेमोक्रेटिक हो गई. बट हेड ऑफ द स्टेट कौन है, वो फिक्स है, वो तो बदल ही नहीं रहा, वो तो दादाजी हैं. ठीक है, वही कॉन्सेप्ट आप स्टेट पे अप्लाई करो. There may be a state where the government is getting elected by the people, but the head of the state is not getting changed. For example, UK, है ना? So UK, the government is elected. Rishi Sunak, who is the prime minister, he came to power by election only. So UK is a democracy, but who is the head of the state in UK? King or queen? They are not getting changed. It is the same family which is ruling for years and years. So though they are a democratic country, what they are not is a republican country. But in India, we have a democratic government. Time and again, we elect after every 5 years, we have this election. We elect our MPs, and the largest party makes of the government, have their own prime minister. So government is elected. But who is the head of the state in India? The president of India. Do you think that there is only one president from 70 years? No, every 5 years, presidents also get changed. So head of the state in India are also elected. So where both the head of the state and the government are elected, that country is called a democratic republic. Because head of the state is president, he is elected, country becomes republic. Head of the government is prime minister, he is an elected person, he is also getting elected, that country becomes democracy. So our India is kind of a both democracy and a republic. But United Kingdom is simply a democracy. They are not a republic. If you talk about United States, they are democracy and they are republic, because they are the head of the state is president, and head of the government is also the president. Both are the same person, and president is getting elected in United States. So they are also a democratic republic. So there may be a country which is democratic but may not be republic. There may be a country which is both democratic and republic like ours, right? So there is another concept of republic. Republic means where head of a state is elected. Now this election can be direct or indirect, that doesn't matter. Direct election means where people directly elect the person, like we go and elect our MPs, so that is direct elections. But हमने MP को elect किया और वो लोग किसी और को elect करते हैं, तो that becomes what? Indirect elections. So we elect our MPs, but we do not directly take part in the elections of the president. We elect MPs and MLA and they participate in the elections of the president. So our head of the state is indirectly elected, but at least they are elected for a fixed tenure of 5 years. After 5 years, they will have to be changed. And if they wins again, they can become, there is no limitation upon that, right? There is another feature of republic that no post, no public office is reserved for any family or hereditary. There is a lack of hereditary concept in republic. In monarchy, there is hereditary, but in republicanism, there is all the public offices are open to everyone without any discrimination of caste, without any discrimination of gender. Head of the state in India can be anyone. Tomorrow you can also contest the election if you fulfill the eligibility. 35 साल के हो गए हो आप, तो आप contest कर सकते हो और आप जीत भी सकते हो, आप भी राष्ट्रपति बन सकते हो. There is no limitation upon that. So the concept of republic has two meanings. One, the head of the state is elected, and second, the public offices are open for every citizen of India without any kinds of discrimination. Right? So far so clear. आपके handout में अभी हमने सिर्फ first page किया है. Right. Second page is that we have seen various institutions, but there has to be a balance between all these institutions. So how we can ensure a balanced institutional design? कि executive ज्यादा powerful ना हो जाए, judiciary सबसे ज्यादा powerful ना हो जाए, legislature सबसे ज्यादा powerful ना हो जाए, क्योंकि अगर तीनों एक balance पे टिके हैं, if any one organ becomes too powerful, whole constitution will collapse. If legislature becomes too powerful, they will make any kind of absurd laws. If judiciary becomes too powerful, they will start running a parallel government. And if executive becomes too powerful, we will not have any kind of fundamental rights. So there has to be a balanced institutional design. How we can do that? वो आपके handout में next है, ठीक है? There is a topic ना, how to ensure a balanced institutional design, right? और 2-3 basic terms और भी बचते हैं, जैसे what do you mean by constitutionalism? Constitution तो आपको समझ में आ गया क्या है? What do you mean by constitutionalism? Can there be a country where there is constitution but there is no constitutionalism? Constitutionalism भी UPSC का फेवरेट क्वेश्चन है, हर 2-3 साल में एक बार आता है, राइट? तो इसको हम कल करेंगे. Any confusions for today's class?
जहाँ पे हेड है और इलेक्टेड गवर्नमेंट है, उसे क्या बोलते हैं?
डेमोक्रेसी. इलेक्टेड गवर्नमेंट है तो वो डेमोक्रेसी है ना? हेड हेरिडेटरी हो तो मोनार्की होगा, राइट?
सर जहाँ पे मिलिट्री रूल होता है उसे क्या बोलते हैं? यहाँ पे डिक्टेटरशिप नहीं आ रहा.
If military person general is behaving in a dictatorial manner, मिलिट्री की एक गवर्नमेंट है, मिलिट्री के अपने रूल्स रेगुलेशंस होते हैं. इफ दैट पर्सन इज आल्सो फॉलोइंग द रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन, दैट इज सिंपली अ मिलिट्री रूल. बट अगर वो मिलिट्री कमांडर है, कोई रूल्स रेगुलेशन नहीं फॉलो कर रहा है, तो वो डिक्टेटरशिप हो जाएगा. लाइक इन एग्जांपल यू कैन टेक पाकिस्तान. सो पाकिस्तान में परवेज मुशर्रफ था, उससे पहले जनरल जिया, बहुत सारे लोग थे. सो टाइम एंड अगेन, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल परवेज मुशर्रफ, so he was a military commander who overthrew the democratically elected government and started behaving in a very despotic manner. So he's also called the military commander. He is also called the dictator. So Iraq में था Saddam Hussein, right? So he was a military commander. He was also behaving in a dictatorial manner. It is highly, वो बहुत हद तक है कि जहां भी मिलिट्री आएगी वो डिक्टेटर बिहेव करेगी. ठीक है? Any other questions? आंसर राइटिंग्स को जैसे आज ही आपको क्लास के बाद मिलेगा एक हैंडआउट, और हालांकि हमने वो टॉपिक्स अभी कवर नहीं किया है, बट यू विल बी गेटिंग ऑलमोस्ट एवरी डे 2 हैंडआउट्स. वन विल बी योर नोट्स, अनदर विल बी योर क्वेश्चंस. सो क्वेश्चंस विल बी हैविंग MCQs एंड आंसर्स बोथ। सो उनको हम क्लास में ही करेंगे आंसर्स को, MCQs आपको करने हैं घर पे, कंफ्यूजन होगा तो हम इसको डिस्कस करेंगे, ठीक है। आई थिंक आपको मिलेगा, अभी मैंने देख रखा है क्लास के बाद देने के लिए, बट उसमें जो क्वेश्चन है दैट इज नॉट डिस्कस सो फार, द टॉपिक हैज नॉट बीन कवर्ड सो फार। सो वंस वी विल कवर द टॉपिक्स, उसको हम क्वेश्चन आंसर के फॉर्मेट में लिख लेंगे, ठीक है। Anyone from Zoom, if there has anyone anything to ask? Thank you.